The complete definition of love is when you actually care about that person. When there is mutual respect, mutual appreciation, when you care about that person, when you want that person to be well in their life, be healthy, be happy, be doing well. Without that, it is just attachment. Depending on what state of consciousness you are, you deeply experience more attachment. And attachment comes in various flavors and forms. We can say I love, my love is my attachment. A mother may be attached to her children, a husband may be attached to his wife, and vice versa, and so on. But if I am at the base level of consciousness, I will be attached to things, dead things, non-living things, my possessions, my clothes, my house, my gadgets, my cars, my things. I will be attached to things. At the absolute root level of consciousness, base level of consciousness, somebody who's operating at an animalistic level of consciousness. Although I think animals are a lot more evolved, but that's for another time. So you're attached to your things. Try taking a toy from a child, a toy that he or she actually loves. They'll go to bed with that toy, they'll wake up with that toy, they'll go to the washroom with that toy. They are not going to leave that toy aside. Try taking it. So they would only think of you when they are hungry. At all of the times, they're only thinking of that toy. When they go to the school where they can't take it, they might sneak it in their bag, but on most days they won't. They can't wait to get back home because they are attached to that toy. But the thing with attachment to things is if it goes out of control, then that's all people remain attached to for the rest of their lives. More things. I remember this man was a little distressed when he went to work. His friend, his colleague said, look, you look a bit down. He said, today I made an amazing discovery at home. We had this vase, beautiful vase, and my wife was cleaning the table and accidentally she knocked it off and knocked it and it fell and it broke. He said, oh, so was there something in it? What's the discovery? He said, no, I discovered that I put it at the wrong place 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I kept it at the wrong place. That's why she couldn't see it today. So with things, what happens is we get over a thing, but we want other things. We want more things. That's the trouble with attachment to things. And all it takes sometimes is a reflection. It's a bit of reflection where you sit back and you say, what is it that matters the most to me? What is it that I can live without? All your things, you give it in the front office, okay? You don't need those things. But functional things. कहीं पुराना सामान उठा के सारा दे दो. मैं पूछूं ये किसके लिए रखा, कबाड़ी के लिए? So I'm just joking. The idea is that only you know what you're attached to. Other people can tell you that. So there are so many men out there, they have this deep attachment with their cars, for example. You scratch it and they think they're dead. Like you don't want to tell, you want to hide it. So that simply shows that what moves you, because whatever you're attached to in your life is what will move you, is basically what your price is, period. All that I'm attached to is all that I value, and all that I value is how much I'm worth. If somebody is attached to their things, you can get them off track by luring them into those things or with those things. At the second level of consciousness are people who are attached to other people. And they are not just attached to anybody. They are attached to a very small group of people. Usually we call it a family. But they will consider all wrong as right for their family. When there is a rapist out there, his mother also cries in the court, saying, "Please let my son go." When somebody commits a crime like that, his family usually doesn't disown him. They don't say, "Yes, he actually ruined somebody's life, and therefore we don't want to do anything. We don't want to have to do anything with this guy." But no, they will protect him. This is nothing but blind attachment. Because what happens in blind attachment, I place greater importance on the suffering or the comfort of one person over another. If you are deeply attached to somebody you are connected with, you are at the second level of consciousness. And there is a fundamental difference between love and attachment. I've I think written about it. In attachment, you take a bird and you put it in a golden cage and you say, "I'm going to give you the chili you need in a little gold, whatever that dish is called. I'm going to give you all that you need. I will sing you lullaby. I will sing you songs. I will even let you out sometime. But you have to stay in this cage." Actually, that reminded me of something I read once, that a wife is like a paperweight. You've seen paperweight? You know? फड़फड़ाने देगी पर उड़ने नहीं देगी. So I read a wife is like a paperweight. She'll let you flutter, but she won't let you fly off. In attachment, that's the thing. Why, you identify with it or what? People are laughing here for a change. Just joking. So you think love is holding that person down against their wishes. That's the key. But if you're deeply attached, you will justify that as love. And in attachment, my only measure of how much love is there in a certain relationship is directly proportionate to how much this person needs me. If I feel needed, I feel I'm loved. If this person doesn't need me for anything in life, that means I am not being loved. But you know what? That's not, at least it's not the complete definition of love. Yes, in love, we share with the other person, we need the other person to some degree. And it's funny that we think of need when we think of love, but the real or the complete definition of love is when you actually care about that person. When there is mutual respect, mutual appreciation, when you care about that person, when you want that person to be well in their life, be healthy, be happy, be doing well. Without that, it is just attachment. You're calling it love, but you are actually, what you're saying is, I feel happy when you're around, therefore you are going to be around. Really, that's what it is. That you are going to be around because I want you around. And in attachment, there is that great joy, but it comes with a lot of pain and a lot of strings attached. A relationship of attachment is always going to be a roller coaster ride. You'll be going up and down all the time, and it's a constant ride. A relationship of love will be more like going down the slide. It still has its adventure, but there is a bit more stability in it. This man went to a saint and said to him, "You speak about ego, and you say we are the soul. So why is it that when somebody says my loved one hurts me, they say something that hurts me, what in me gets hurt?" The saint said, "Check with Om Swami." But he said, "No, please tell me, I can't travel, it's locked down. So why don't you give me the answer, I'll take any." And this master said, it's the relationship that gets hurt. You know how when a man and woman get together in a marriage, they procreate. They create a child. And that child can get hurt. The child can, be injured, or the child can get harmed, and so on. The child can cry, the child can laugh. It's something they have created together. In much the same manner, we create a relationship with another person or other people or society or even self. A relationship is a joint entity. It's a joint venture, put it this way. And trouble comes when both people are not 50-50 partners. When one person owns 90%, the other person says, I own 10%. So it's when we neglect the relationship, it will get hurt. And its quality is going to deteriorate, it's going to age. And a neglectful relationship that ages is not like the aging wine or cheese. They get better with time. It's more like, aging body. Doesn't get as well. Two strangers were at a concert. It was absolutely chock-a-block packed. And they bumped into each other. They said, "Hey man, hey, I'm looking for my wife. I'm looking for my wife." And the other says, "My wife is also lost somewhere. I'm also looking for her." "Okay, what does your wife look like? We can maybe help each other searching for them." He said, "My wife is 5'7" and well endowed, very petite. She's wearing a pink top and a mini skirt. "What does your wife look like?" "Forget about mine," he said. "Let's look for yours." He said, "Forget about mine. Let's look for your wife." So when a meaningful relationship ages, it gets better. When a neglectful relationship ages, it gets worse. Recently, as you know, this Rishi Kapoor, the Indian actor, he died. And there was this article where they shared, one really old snippet of how his marriage had been when he was alive. And his wife, she was also an actor, I think. So she was saying that we've been married for like 30 plus years, 37 years or something. She said, every day, at least once a day, I tell myself, "Bus, today I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this man." Every day, at least once a day, there is a moment when I say, "Bus, aaj main ja rahi hu." But then I stay back, she said. He must have enough goodness that I choose to stay back. And it's one of those things, when we think of love, you cannot expect that it'll always be a flowing river, a winter, in the winters or something. It is going to be tidal at times, it is going to ebb and it is going to flow, and it's going to have its hurdle. Every time there is conflict, every time there is an unpleasant interaction, every time your ego raises its hood, there is going to be friction there. The relationship is going to experience a jolt. Because it doesn't matter how much the person loves you or you love the other person. In attachment, what matters to you does not necessarily mean that it will matter as much to the other person, even if they want it that way. Because people are built differently. The way you are brought up, everybody is brought up differently. And how you are brought up, what you've observed while growing up, what you have read while growing up, what kind of things you have seen while growing up, what kind of society you lived in, what kind of things you do or did when you were growing up, all of those things make an impact on how you are going to be as a person. Because remember, I gave you the example that we create a person. And that person is not just an act of procreation, that's just the body. How that child is brought up is how we create somebody. I remember when I was at Naga Baba's place, I think I shared this with you earlier as well. I mean, I was only there for 4.5 months after all. How many new things I can pull out every time? So I was taking a round of the school in the morning before all the kids would come, because Baba told me to look after the school. So I was going in every single class, making sure there was duster there, there were chalks, and there were chalk there for the teachers to write on the blackboard, and so on. Fans were working, lights were working, and so on. I would go into every single room, every single day, like 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. And one day, I went into this room, and as I told you, I would examine the whole room. I walked past every single desk, making sure there was no dust and so on. I even carried a cloth. If there was, I might just wipe it myself. And I saw a pigeon badly stuck in this thorny twig, thorny little whatever you want to call it, and was actually very badly stuck. What baffled me, how did it get there? Because there was no way it could have flown with all so many things entangled. It was entangled in that thorny bush, or like, I don't know what to call that thing. So first I checked if it was alive or dead. It was alive and was very badly injured. But it wasn't bleeding, it was just very badly entangled. And I just could not make out how it got there to begin with. So I tried to lift, but it fluttered its wings so badly that for a moment I thought, I don't know if I can handle this thing. So then I went down, I called somebody, and I took him with me. And he said, "Ye to mar jayega, ye to mar jayega. This is as good as dead." I said, "No, well, let's try and save this thing first. It's dead, it's a given, but we must do our bit to save this thing." So he said, "Babaji, I don't know, ye ho payega nahi." Then we called somebody else, and he very carefully, one by one, he pinned it down, the bird, and took out and untangled it. But the bird was very scared. It just we kept it there, but it wouldn't fly. So I was feeling quite helpless because I wanted to feed that bird, but I had nothing myself. So there was nothing to feed. So I had a packet of biscuits. So I went there and I crushed and got a little water. So, but the bird was very scared and was traumatized and just would not eat anything, would not drink anything. So it was school was about to begin. So there was somebody who used to clean. I said, "Look, can you watch this bird? Can you just take care of it for the next couple of hours? I will then speak to you about it because I don't want the cat or any cat there to just have a nice little breakfast." So he said, "Yeah, I can. I'll just put it somewhere and don't worry." So he went about his cleaning business, and I went about my teaching stuff. And then a couple of hours later, I went to him and I said, "Let's get the bird." And it had most of the biscuit we had kept around it. It had a bit of the water that was there. So I said to him, I said, "Look, I don't have a room here, and I don't have any place here which is not open. It's just all wide open. So I can't take care of this bird. Can you feed this bird? Can you take this bird home? And can you feed this bird? I'm sure in a few days, maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks, it'll fly away." And he said, he was a little hesitant at first. I said, "Look, I will pay you. Whatever is the cost of feeding the bird, you take it from me." And he used to get there 800 rupees per month. That was his salary at. And I said, "I will pay you equal amount. I will pay you 800 additional, 200 rupees per week. You take care of it. As long as it's alive, you feed it until it flies away." And I said, "I'm sure in 200 rupees you can buy the grains and things it needs." He said, "Yeah, yeah, 200 rupees a week will easily cover it." I said, "Okay, and here's the advance. You take it and you please take care of this bird, feed this bird. And if you need anything else, you tell me. I don't, because I can't take care of this bird. I don't have a place, otherwise I would have done it. I don't have food, otherwise I would have fed it." He said, "Okay, I will do that." And I said, "So I will make sure it's unhurt until the end of the school today. When you go home, you take it with you." So he took the bird with him, and I was very happy. And the next day, I didn't see him there in the school. And the day after, I was a little concerned. I saw him and I said, "How's the bird?" He said, "Bird's doing well." I said, "Is it eating? Is it drinking?" He said, "Yeah, it's eating, it's drinking." And then the third and the fourth day and the fifth day, I asked him again, "How's the bird? Is the bird doing just fine?" I said, "Are you lying to me?" He said, "नहीं बाबा जी, आपसे क्यों झूठ बोलना? I'm not lying to you." I said, I don't see that. Because when we care for something, there is a spark that comes in the carer's eyes. There is a joy they cannot contain when they are caring for something and they see that thing being taken care of. I said, "When I look at you, I feel as if you are guilty of something. You're trying to hide something from me. It's your personal life, and it's none of my business. But I just want to know if the bird is actually okay." He said, "Ji Baba, the bird is totally okay." He said, "जी सरकार आप ऐसे नहीं चिंता करत हुआ, बिल्कुल ठीक पड़ा वगैरह, बढ़िया मस्त था." I said, "I don't believe you. Tomorrow you are going to bring that bird here." And first he said, "Sure, I will bring it tomorrow." And then half an hour later he came to me. He said, "I just wanted to tell you that the cat actually ate the bird the very next day. The bird is dead. And I said, look, all I expected you to do was to tell me if that was the case. Because those 5 days, every day, at least once or twice a day, that image would flash in front of my eye when the bird was actually suffering. So all I wanted you to do was tell me that the bird was eaten. But I said, fine, we all have to live with our karma. It is your karma and it is my fault that I entrusted the care to somebody else. And that's the thing about attachment. In attachment, you're okay to hand the care over to somebody else. It's the worst kind of seva, Naga Baba used to say, that when you hand over the seva to somebody else, he said, you tell somebody to do something, they tell somebody else, usko ye kar dena. You could have told that person, why did you have to go through this chain? But in attachment, you forward the care like a WhatsApp message. You just forward to everybody who, let's see, somebody will do it, but nobody does it. Because everybody thinks somebody else will do it. But in love, you don't just forward that care. You say, no, it's my job, I have to care for this person. And that's the lesson I learned from that little episode. That if you really want to care for something, or if you really care about something, you've got to handle it yourself. Because the other person may have the best intention, but they may not have the skill. They may have the skill, but they may not have the inclination. They may have the inclination, but they may not have the desire. They may have the desire, but they may not have the time. They may have the time, but they may lack determination.